So I was so confused. I have a theory. It was the summer of cancellation, and people that I was like closely associated with were getting like really canceled hardcore, and I just have a feeling like it had to do with that. Maybe like my association with that person, or I'm not sure, because I don't think I got canceled that summer. I got canceled every other summer, but I don't think I got canceled the summer of 2020. So it was either that, or maybe that I was really heavy on my OF. Like I was really strongly doing that. So maybe they didn't want to be. I don't know. There was something else, I'm sure. I wasn't gonna like fight it. I was like, okay, if you don't want to like have me on your, roster, your network, whatever, that's fine. And I was really, really, really sad. I had just started dating Moses officially, my now husband at the time. We had just like started officially dating when that happened, and when he came home, I like cried a little bit, because it feels weird to be fired for something, right? Like I'm very like independent. I'm an independent contractor, basically. Like I, get sponsorship from companies, and they either continue to work with me or don't continue to work with me, but they never really can fire me, right? They either choose to work with me or don't. So it felt really odd for like, it was like kind of like this like ultimate rejection, because I really never been fired from a job either. I usually quit, so I was so confused by it. And like I said, they continued to pay me to this day, so it's like something with making money. I'm not sure. And granted, I'm sure it wasn't like the most popular podcast, but it definitely wasn't the least popular on their roster. I've seen the podcast they have, and I was just like, so odd. And I really don't have anything bad to say about them. They were always like really nice and stuff, so it's not like, I don't know, it was just like a weird situation. So getting the chance to get signed with another podcast network that gets ad reads, and it's like a really exciting thing. I'm really excited. It's a pretty big podcast company, and my co-host is very well known and well liked, and I think it's gonna be really fun. I can't predict if it'll be successful or big or not. I have no idea, but I think with podcasts, it's all about if you're having fun, if like what you're talking about is important to you, and like I just like to talk. I like to talk into a microphone, and podcasts are kind of all the rage right now, but like I feel like my YouTube career has always been very podcast format without the microphone. It's always been just talking and rambling, and that's essentially what the podcasts are, and I'm just really excited. I like having a routine. I like having like a weekly setup, and like I like a very casual setup. It's nothing like too much to do. I'm very excited that like I'll be producing a lot of this. I love producing, which producing, if you don't know, means like creating concepts and ideas and themes and sets. Like I do it for my music videos. I produce all my music videos. I have other producers on there, but like I have the vision, right? And I'm really excited that I get to like produce so much of this, because I love being creative. I love having a creative outlet, and so I love doing my videos. I love doing my ASMR. I love doing my main channel. Like I love to just be creative, and anything that challenges that I love. That's why my ASMR had been such a godsend this year, because like while I was pregnant, I couldn't do like a whole lot, like music videos, but I was able to kind of create this little studio inside my house and create all these fun projects, and it's been so much fun. I hope to continue to do those in the new year, and maybe I'll do like an ASMR podcast like this style on the ASMR channel, the Trisha Paytas ASMR. So it's not like the end, but it will be the end of it on this channel. So please subscribe to Trisha Paytas ASMR if you guys want to see. And like I said, maybe this will come like once a week, but again, it's more of a timing consideration. Obviously I'm a new mom, I'm trying to get pregnant again, we're working on baby number 2, and I'm really just focusing a lot of energy into this new project, because like I said, I'm producing it, and I really have such a strong vision. I'm very lucky to have this like opportunity, and I feel like it can be a really great success. So you guys know me, I'm always trying new things, I'm always seeing what sticks, and I just am really, really gonna focus a lot of my time that I have onto this. And right now it's Vlogmas, so I'm posting a lot, but in the new year it'll probably go back to twice a week or whatever I'm posting, because Vlogmas is tough. I like making sure to post every day on every channel, Chris Hemsworth, like getting these mixed up, and then someone else threw in the name Chris Pratt. I was like, wait, Chris Pratt? Who's Chris Pratt now? Like, I'm getting them confused. And the only thing I know Chris Pratt from is being married to Anna Faris. I've never really seen like a movie he was in. He was in a movie with Anna Faris that I saw where she was like dating like a bunch of different guys. I think it was called like What's Your Number? I think she was trying to get her number up or something. I don't know. I'm not sure. But he was like I think he was like fat and lost a bunch of weight in the movie, which I think that's him in real life. I think he was like a bigger guy and lost a bunch of weight. Like, I don't say fat in a bad way, by the way. I never say fat in a derogatory way. It's like an adjective for me. Like, I'm fat. I don't think it's bad. Like, when someone calls me fat, I don't really take insult unless they're like trying to be insulting. But if someone's like, oh, like that fat girl, that's fine. I don't care. But maybe that's just me. But he was like heavier and then lost weight, and I think that was like his character in the movie too. She's like, oh, he looks so good. He's like, yeah, I lost a bunch of weight. So that's what I know him from. But I know like Guardians, like again, it's like Guardians of the Galaxy, Captain America, what's it, Thor. Like, obviously I see the posters everywhere. Like, I know like the faces and stuff. I just never seen any of those movies. Why? Because I'm just not a superhero kind of person. Is there a plane? Okay, we're gonna do a little tingles and triggers break. Hold on, guys. Sorry, there's a little plane happening, but I don't know what the vibe is. If someone could please tell me, like, why I get those mixed up. Obviously, other people know that too, because when I tweeted it, someone was like, yeah, Chris Pratt. Is it because they're all Chris's? Is it all because they're Caucasian men, like, around the same age, that they're all playing, like, superheroes, that they're all well-liked? Like, what is the vibe that they're, like, all the same person? It's very, very weird. They're all huge stars, but I don't understand it. I don't get it. Because I don't think that with, like, Zac Efron and, like, who's, like, another Zac Efron type. I can't even think of someone who's, like, on, like, I don't think that with, like, Seth Rogen and Jonah Hill or Jim Carrey and, like, I don't know, Adam Sandler. Okay, like, I don't get them, like, confused, okay? And they're all, like, Caucasian guys, so I'm just like, what is it about them? Let me know. Oh, and as this podcast is coming to an end, much like my Lost podcast, so, you know, people still ask me, they're like, are you gonna bring back the Lost podcast? I'm like, maybe when Lost gets renewed or a Lost cast member wants to come on there. I had a Lost podcast, it's still on my main channel. When I was pregnant, we watched so much Lost, and I was obsessed with Lost, and I'm telling you, like, the power of my mind is so strong. We ended up sitting next to Matthew Fox, the guy who plays Dr. Jack. What's his last name? Jack. Man, I love Lost. Now I can't think of Jack's last name. Shepard. We had dinner sitting right next to Dr. Jack Shepard at this place called Javier's in Century City, like, while we were watching the show, while the podcast was going on, and I was like, oh my god, I was like gagging. Matthew Fox, if you want to be on my Lost podcast, I'm happy to bring it back. But yeah, I was obsessed with Lost, and that was short-lived too. But as this podcast comes to a close, my only guest that I would love on this podcast or my Lost podcast, or even both, would be Naveen Andrews. I just adore this actor so much. I saw him again. My mom came over a couple days ago, and we were watching The Dropout. India. It was like a Bollywood style film, and I don't know if Naveen Andrews was like actually singing and dancing in that movie, or if he had a double or what, but it was so good and so phenomenal. And I've been wanting to make a Bollywood film for so long, but I had no idea that he had any connection in like that Bollywood world. Like, he's British, so he's from like England, and he has a British accent, so I really didn't think that he had like a Bollywood ties. But when I saw him in that, I was like, I would love, I've been wanting, like I said, I've been wanting to do a Bollywood movie for so long, like produce one, I want to star in one, I want to like go to India and get like all these amazing dancers, Trisha Krishnan, I want her in it, I want like all the like, everything, I want to be in it too. But like when I saw Naveen in it, I was like, oh, maybe he can be in it. I kind of wanted it on my life, so I was like, maybe he could play like, you know, when I meet my husband Moses, like he could be the Moses or something in the story. He was in the Ten Commandments, oddly enough. Speaking of my husband Moses, Naveen Andrews was in the Ten Commandments. I think he played a made-up character. I don't think he was anyone, but he was one of the Egyptians. And I was like, yes, okay, love him. That he's in literally everything. He was in a movie about Princess Diana. Like, he's been in literally everything. So when we watched Pride and Prejudice, it was like not that long ago, a couple weeks ago. The songs were so good in it, and like it was, like I said, it was kind of like a parody. It wasn't like a full-on Bollywood film, but the songs were great, the dancing were great, and the plot line was obviously Pride and Prejudice, and I thought it was like really, really amazing. He was very young. I think he was before he did Lost. I was so good. It was 10 out of 10. But yeah, I always say if I win the Mega Millions, I'm gonna produce my own Bollywood film. I think that'd be so fun. And I'm gonna open up a museum, the Trisha Museum. My husband has the Water Museum, and I wanna we wanna open it and refurbish it and stuff. So right next to it will be the Trisha Museum. That's the goal. Alright, so we did watch Don't Worry Darling for the first time. All I knew about this movie was the controversy, right? That Harry Styles and Olivia Wilde had like an affair during this movie. It's what broke up her marriage to Jason Sudeikis. I remember when she was at the premiere for it, she was served her like divorce papers at this convention that she was speaking on. I thought, oh my god, that's so weird. And then just a bunch of other things. Shia LaBeouf, he was casted and then fired, but then he said he wasn't fired, that he quit because I didn't have enough rehearsal time. It just seemed like a whole debacle. And then the lead actress, what is her name? Something Pugh. I can't think of her name. She was really good in the movie. Didn't want to promote it because she was I don't know, she wasn't proud of it. I don't know, something. She was really good in it. I don't know why she didn't promote it. She starred in it. She was good. Oh, Florence Pugh. That's right. She has a really unique name, Florence Pugh. And Olivia Wilde was in it herself. Now, the movie itself I thought was really good. I thought it was very Stepford Wives, minus the comedy aspect of it. But I love the idea of a utopia, right? This fantasy land, and you don't know this, by the way, spoiler alert, sorry, but you don't know this from the beginning, that this is it's this world that doesn't exist. It's kind of this cyber world, just a world of images, where it's it takes you back to the life of the 1960s, and the housewives are at home and the men go to work, and you have this perfect little life in this perfect little bubble, but you can't leave the bubble. There was another movie like this, and I can't think of what it was, that you couldn't get out of the city. I mean, there was a comedy called Schmigadoon on Apple TV that I loved. It had Keegan-Michael Key, who was amazing. Oh my god, I would love. I love Key and Peele. I'm very late to this train, but I would love to work with Keegan-Michael Key. He's on this new show called Reboot on Hulu. So good. I hope they bring it back. I kind of stopped all of a sudden, but I love him, and he never ages. He was in Just Go With It with Adam Sandler. He's been in so much, obviously Mad TV from back in the day. He's so good, and he's never aged. Love him. And I would also love to work with Jordan Peele. I mean, Jordan Peele kind of has blown up now, and he's a huge director, but I think he's so good, and they're so funny. I love their skits. The Megan one is so funny. Me and Moses recreated the Key and Peele sketch where it was Megan, I'm not breaking up with you. It's so good. I would love to work with both of them. I think they're absolutely amazing, both of them, and great. So although we did watch a movie recently with Keegan-Michael Key that was not good. I don't think he created it. I think it was either Judd Apatow or one of those big guys. I think it was Judd Apatow because his wife was was about making a movie during COVID times. I can't think of the name. Like, they were making a movie, but it was during COVID. It was so bad. I literally can't think. I feel like there was like a social media star on there or something. I don't know. It was horrible, but I don't blame him. There was a lot of cameos too, so I want to say it's like a Judd Apatow film because I feel like there was so many celebrity cameos. Anyways, I digress. Back to Don't Worry, Darling. So basically, they were in the simulation, and it was really interesting because like the women were kind of like forced. Like, they kind of were like out there, like again, like not like they weren't. No, basically, like, Harry Styles' character like had to kidnap Florence Pugh's character and like kind of like hold her down so she could get like, you know, these slides. So she goes in this like utopia and she stays there, and when the men would go to work, they would go back into the real world to pay for the simulation. So she ended up like figuring this out or something, and this one was good. Oh, I guess she does kind of get out at the end. She kind of like runs and she's like being chased and stuff by all these people. Chris Pines kind of started this. He was kind of like the OG of all this and got all these guys to do it. And these guys could have like their women in this world. It was like a little confusing. I was kind of confused by it, but it was very Stepford Wives too, where you have like the perfect woman and the perfect house, and I was like, I don't know, those movies always appealed to me when I was like, I mean, they still kind of appeal to me in a sense, like, would you want to live in this perfect utopia? Because what we got, and it wasn't really clear, was like Olivia Wilde's character was there because either she lost custody of her children or her children passed away. So in this world, she got to be with her children every day. I also kind of got the sense of like drug addict vibes. So like I feel like Olivia Wilde's character and maybe the other characters, they kind of were like drug addicts of some sort, and that's why they were like in this world. They were like this perfect being or something. It was interesting. It was really interesting. I love the aesthetic. I love the visual. I love the idea of the story. I just feel like the climax of the movie just failed somehow. I don't know. Like it just was like a letdown. Like all of a sudden, like it just happened so fast. Like once we realized they were in a simulation and there was like this outside world, like the movie moved so quickly, and like all of a sudden, like the lead character's dead, and it was like really, really weird. And then you start to be like, it just didn't give enough of like the real world and like the consequences and like all this. Like it just kind of like abruptly ended. Like Harry Styles is dead, she runs away, like that's it. She gets to the gold dome and like boom, she's out or something. Even though we don't really see her out. I don't know. I know so many people talked about it, and maybe the controversy helped the movie. I'm sure it did. I mean, I watched it because of the controversy, but it was actually really good, and I'm considering doing an ASMR roleplay to that because I just loved the aesthetic. She cracked these eggs. I like literally like googled how to like hollow out an egg because she like cracked eggshells, and like the liquid came out, or there was no liquid that came out of it. I thought, ooh, that's such a good ASMR. So I would love to hear your thoughts on Don't Worry, Darling, and like, would you be part of a simulation if it guaranteed you a perfect life? In all honesty, I'd say no, because I do believe life is meant to, you're meant to live and die, and you're meant to go through hardships and trials and tribulations. I think that's what makes life, because I think with every like perfect life, there's like darkness behind it, and there was a lot of darkness behind this perfect life. It was also interesting that they focused a lot on like female oral sex. I feel like in movies it's like a lot of male oral sex, but they were like heavy. I wouldn't say like heavy, but like unexpected, female oral sex. I was like, wow, this is like interesting concept. And then when you did find out that this was all a simulation, but like the guys were in control outside in the real world, I was like, okay, was he taking advantage of her body? Like, what was that simulation? There was some weird stuff. Like at first I thought the scenes were like really sexy. I was like, these are kind of sexy. I was surprised Harry Styles did it. I feel like he's trying to like break. Okay, I don't know much about Harry Styles, but I always thought he was like very clean cut. I thought he was like wholesome. So when I was seeing him all of a sudden like in between this girl's legs, I was like, okay, I guess he's just breaking. Like I just look at him as like, I thought he was like this innocent like kid, but he's a vulgar know anything about him other than like he was in One Direction, and I know he's like really popular. Like people like are obsessed with him. But kudos Harry Styles and kudos Olivia Wilde. Again, I don't know, I don't know much about her or anything. She seems like shrouded in controversy, but I feel like all girls, good artists are. So kudos to Olivia Wilde for that, and kudos to Florence Pugh. Like I don't know her. What went on that she didn't want to promote the movie, but I thought it was really good, and good job to Chris Pines. Not Chris Pratt. I guess Chris Pines. I haven't seen him in a while. Like he looked familiar, and I hadn't seen him. I think I did see the Star Trek movie, not by choice, but I think I did see it. I don't have much thoughts on those because I don't get into like Star Wars, Star Trek heroes. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe I should, but it's just not like, I don't know. The visuals don't appeal to me. I know they spend millions of dollars on visuals for those movies, but it's not my thing. I'll stick with Elvis and Don't Worry Darling. Maybe I just like period pieces. I don't know. But anyways, I love you guys. I wish they could make comedies. I was watching the Will Ferrell and Ryan Reynolds comedy on Apple TV called Spirited. It's like a Christmas one, and I'm like, God, I really wish they made like comedies again. Like Will Ferrell used to make like Elf. They just don't make them like that anymore. But I love you guys. I